Welcome to the Adventures Beyond the Horizon. This is where we delve into the essence of overlanding, the art of navigating uncharted paths, and the stories forged on the roads less traveled.
I'm Jonathan, and joining me is my co-host Anthony. Together we'll explore the profound experiences of our journeys, the intricacies of vehicle modifications, and the challenges and triumphs of off-road adventure.
Each episode, we'll share insights of our recent travels, and as well as uncover the deeper connections and transformative moments found in the world of overlanding. Subscribe to stay with us on this journey. All right, hello all you lovely adventurers. We're back today with podcast Ventures Beyond the Horizon. I'm joined by my co-host here, John. Say hello, John.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you doing?
Oh, it was a long one today.
And why's that?
So I'm getting out of the military, so we have this course called TAPS, and it's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But there is a lot of good information to learn there, so.
Yeah, well, at least you're about to get out soon.
Oh, yeah.
You sound a lot better, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I got a gift for my birthday last weekend. I got a AU-A04 professional audio innovation microphone.
Well, good. You sound a ton better. I'm glad you got that.
Oh, yeah, me too. I'm excited for this podcast. What about you?
Oh, I'm really excited. This is going to be a good one. Oh, and did you enjoy the gift I sent you?
Yes, the gift. Yes. The other gift I got, the microphone was from the wife. And this one is from you. I got some R4 series headlights. I haven't put them on the Maverick yet, just because I don't have the mounting brackets, but I got to look into that here shortly so I can get them properly fit, and it looks easy enough to set up.
I hope they do make brackets for that, because it's supposed to go in between your hood, not your hood latch, but like the hood hinge to raise it up a little bit. So it should look pretty cool on your Maverick. They're also amber, by the way, so in case there's like dust or snow, it should cut through that stuff pretty easily.
Yep, upgraded brightness, waterproof, easy installation. Let's see, let's take a look at some specs for these. Yeah, they're black. Lens material is PC. Aluminum alloy. Wiring harness included. So.
Now, they do also sell the light covers for those. I saw those recently and didn't realize they did make them. But they do make light covers for them. It says aux beam on it, so in case you want to just protect that glass lens in front, you can get that. I'm probably not going to get it just because I don't really care enough to do that. But that is an option.
It's always an option for everything. Yeah, it's the R4 series aux beam. I forgot to mention that part.
Well, very nice, very nice. So, did you have anything off-roading or overlanding recently? Like, just going on camping trip? Or...
Yeah, a couple weekends ago, I went out with a couple of buddies to the Hoh River. But we can talk about that one here in a little bit. I know you're really excited to talk about the Overland Expo, and I'm excited to hear about that too.
Oh yeah, Overland Expo, Mountain West. That was a good one to go to this year. I went to Overland Expo last year there. It was pretty good as well. You had the big vendors like Jeep, Ram was there, GMC was there. They were showing off their the Hummer EV, and then they had the GMC Sierra AEV edition. So the big brother of my truck. That thing was pretty cool. I actually had one of those come into work, and I was able to get a little closer view on that one.
I've seen the GMC Sierra on the road, but I don't think it was the fully upgraded version that you're talking about.
Yeah, no, the AEV version, it's full, just like mine, front and rear metal bumpers, full skid plates under. Then, of course, you got the ZR2 package with the front and rear locker and all the good off-road goodies that you can get with all that stuff. And I think it also has the extra 2-inch lift on top of that. So it was a pretty nice, good-looking truck, but also very, very expensive.
Oh, I bet.
But yeah, no, it's you had GMC, and then you had Toyota was there showing off the new 4Runner, and they had a bunch of new Tacomas there, and they had the Trail Hunter version of the Tacoma and the 4Runner. So those are pretty cool. The 4Runner hasn't released yet. It's not on the roads yet. And they're just kind of showing everything off right now. But the Tacomas are now on the road. I believe the Trail Hunter is also on the road now. So now they're moving to the 4Runner.
I've seen a couple of Tacomas on the road as well. The newer ones, those don't like. I passed one today, and I don't know if I like the looks of those.
I think, yeah, I don't know because they look a little more, I guess, longer. Not like lengthwise, but like from the ground up, they look longer to me. Because the old Tacomas, they had like that's their main thing. They were skinny, they were narrow, and they were able to go over bumps pretty easily. But if you put a lift on those things can go over a lot. But yeah, now they just kind of changed up the body style. I think they made the frame a little stronger, but recently I've heard they've been having some issues.
What kind of issues?
Um Actually, a big one I heard one time was that they had the suspension struts. They would poke through the what is it called?
The strut.
Yeah, so the strut would poke through the actual like body. So where the strut attaches to the body, it would if you put too much pressure there, it would poke through it, which is freaking crazy. And then on another YouTube video, I saw the locker failed on those.
Did it like fail locked or failed open?
I think it failed locked, like it wouldn't come out. Either it was the locker or it was the 4-wheel drive system. Oh no, their front axle broke.
Oh,
The 4-wheel drive system broke essentially. That's a pretty big issue, and I'm sure. I mean, it's a brand new generation, so they're gonna have issues like that. But that's not a good look for Toyota.
but yeah, not every truck that comes out has the same kind of issues. You know.
Yeah, but whenever it's very publicized, that's when you don't want those issues to happen.
Okay, yeah, exactly. But my Maverick, they haven't had as many issues as this, and I love the thing to death.
Mavericks are pretty nice, but it is limited by not having a 4 low, and we will talk about that issue later on. So back to Overland Expo. So we had those major vendors there, and you had all the off-road vendors, such as actually Falcon Tire was not there, which I was surprised to see them not there. But you had all the local vendors, like Colorado 4x4 was there, and we also had who else was there? You had there were a ton of vendors, and I also talked to one of the tire vendors there, which they're called Maxis, and the guy I went to said that they loved their tires. Went there with said that he really loves their tires, so it kind of gave me another thing to look at because I was originally going to go for Falcon, but I may look at some other companies now because of that. So we talked to them, and that guy was pretty cool. Looked at some of their all-terrain tires; they look pretty good. And then we also talked to another company, and my buddy Chris, who I went there with, he does like some of the craziest designs for like off-road bumpers and stuff like that. And he was talking to them about just different things that he would do and what they did. And they had this Jeep Renegade of all vehicles, a Jeep Renegade that had showing off their stuff. That thing was like, it was painted purple, like a shiny purple. It was really weird. Had
A shiny purple, not like a matte or anything.
no, it was just like a shiny. It was kind of like shiny, sparkly purple. And this guy had that Renegade tricked out. Metal front bumper. He had skid plates on that thing. He had a fridge in the back, a tin on top, and had lights on that thing. And that thing looked sick. And he said he's gone so many places in that thing. And that only has an all-wheel drive system. No lockers, but it is the Trailhawk, so it is trail rated. So it has a little bit of off-road goodies, like the traction control does some special stuff. It has the different drive modes and whatnot. But that thing was pretty sick, and they were showing off this tent called Inspired Overland. That's the company name. Not sponsored, by the way, but they're just really cool guys. They were showing me this tent that I think it was only 80 pounds. Had a nice mattress. It was a clamshell style. And,
Is that are they located out of Chicago?
you know what? I don't remember.
Because I have a buddy who drives a Renegade, and he has something that sounds very similar. I can't remember the tent name, but he says it was based out of Chicago, and they're only 78 pounds, so 78 and 80 are basically the same. If I granted that it's a big difference, like if you're trying to reduce weight and everything, but he could have been saying it was 78.
Yeah, no, it's weight is everything whenever you're going off-roading because
Yeah,
I mean, if you have less weight, you can carry more, and especially if you
exactly.
hit your load limit on your vehicle. Let's see. I'm trying to see where they're based out of. No, they're based out of California.
Okay, so different company.
Yeah, but they were really cool guys. They have a tent. It's a two-person tent, and I think they said it weighed like 80 pounds, clamshell style. The mattress was pretty good. The guy said he's gone on many adventures with it, and it worked out really well. And then he also said that they're coming out with a four-person tent. And I was like,
Hmm.
how do you build a four-person tent as a rooftop tent? That's my question.
That's very carefully. You have what, a two-person tent, and it's is yours? I don't think yours is a clamshell. Clamshell is only like a V, basically.
Yeah, so the clamshell, if you like lift up the top, it just goes up. Mine,
Yeah,
if you it like flips over. So imagine like a book. If you open a book, it flips over all the way, 180 degrees. Mine's like that.
yeah.
Mine is also made by
Oh, I can Smitty built.
Smitty Built.
Yours is a
Thank you, thank you,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah, Smitty Built. They make some good stuff. But that's just the basic tent design. I mean, it was relatively cheap. You know, the guys said that their tent it was only $900. $900 for a clamshell, and that's not seen very often.
No, I have been looking at some really cheap ones. I found a couple on like Amazon for $700, and I've been debating whether or not to get that. But I currently don't have a roof rack or a bed rack, so I would have to get one of those first.
Yeah, that's kind of important. Now, be careful when you're looking for tents because the cheaper you get, the quality isn't as good because you got to think. You got to have, it has to be rain sealed. Some features aren't right if you go too cheap. The mattress that you may use is very cheap because like mine's a memory foam. My tent really went for $1,600, but it was selling on Amazon for 1,200, and it. I mean, I like that tent a lot. It just takes forever to open up and then pack away. That's my biggest issue. That's why I want to go for the clam style because it's just easy to set up and you're done. You know.
Yours is a lot more, and I like the aspect of having a area where you can sit underneath for yours. A clamshell, you don't really get that.
That is very true, but that's why people buy awnings.
I did see a cool video the other day. I think you're the one who actually sent it to me, and it was somebody who had the flip up with a awning that came off of that. So
Hmm.
it was like an all encompassing one, and it was a Forester, wasn't it? It was a Subaru Forester. Pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah, I see a
And
lot of Foresters with those. I don't remember exactly if it was a Forester. The issue with the awning sometimes though is if you don't have a vehicle that's high enough, it kind of you kind of have to bend down and get under it. Now, if you have a vehicle that's high enough or you put the awning high enough, then you're perfectly fine. You can just go under it and whatnot. But that's my issue with awnings. Now, I'm gonna lift my truck up, but even on our camping trip we had, Trevor would. I think he did this twice. He walked into the bottom of my tent because it was too low. Like he banged his head into it.
Well, that's on him for not realizing how short it is, and I work on a submarine, so I would have never hit my head on it.
Got to be aware of your surroundings.
Oh yeah, at all times. Even when we were super, what's the PG term for this? I guess intoxicated would be fine.
Intoxicated is the official word, yes.
Yeah, I was ducking all the time.
Yeah. No, I've gotten so used to it by now that I kind of know what not to do. Um, but yeah, I mean that's just my biggest issue with awnings. As long as you have it high, then you're fine. But if you have it too low, then you're gonna be probably banging your head on it every once in a while. They can also get pretty expensive too. I saw one at Overland Expo. They had it for like $700. That thing. I mean, it was a nice awning. Don't get me wrong. But $700. That's a lot of money
Oh yeah.
for sure. Um, Back to Overland Expo.
What are some things that you bought at the expo?
Oh yes. So at one of the vendors was Midland, the walkie-talkie radio
Okay,
company,
yeah.
and I got so tired of my walkie-talkie constantly dying on our trip that I bought a dedicated radio
Oh,
for my truck.
like a whole radio set. I,
Yeah, a whole radio set with the antenna and everything. And I've yet to install it. I'm probably going to do it this weekend, but it is going to be so much nicer just to have something dedicated that won't die. It plugs into your car serial outlet, and it control everything from the actual speaker itself, and you can mount it somewhere where it's easily accessible, and it should be pretty good. I'm very excited about it, so I don't have to carry a walkie-talkie around everywhere.
yeah. I know our walkie talkies were super useful during our trip, but I don't think we can accomplish everything that we need to do it. For walking purposes, I would continue to use the walkies, but getting a radio,
Oh yeah.
I definitely need to look
Yeah.
into that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no. Whenever you're out of the truck, walkie-talkies are essential, but whenever we're like driving down the road, radios are so nice, especially if you're on a trail. Now, the range on this thing, she said it was 5 miles if you have stuff like obstacles around you, trees and whatnot. But if it's like a clearing, you have up to 15 miles of range.
Hmm.
So, very, very useful. That's really the major thing I bought. Now, of course, like everybody else, I went up to the Overland Expo trailer, bought myself a hat, bought myself a shirt, and I bought myself the almighty
The
patch.
patch.
Every Overlander has to have a patch.
I don't have any patches yet.
You know, you're just starting your journey, my young friend.
We've been doing it for the same amount of time. I just, disappear for 3 months at a time.
I've been hitting the trails longer than you have, though.
Not by much.
Well, let's not make this a competition here. But either way, the radio will make things way easier for both of us, especially if we do a trip together. I won't have to keep borrowing your charger anymore.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I would have to go through 2 walkies while he's hogging up my charger. Like, yeah, we're talking.
I mean, I should have brought a charger, which it's funny because I found a cord buried deep in my center console after we got back from the trip. So sorry about that.
Well, yeah, because you're cleaning it out to get your new one.
I know, I know, Eh, I know. I wish that truck would have been able to keep up with my adventurous lifestyle, but it just had too many issues.
Well, it's a good thing you upgraded just in time, it seems like.
Yep, right before winter. Now I just need to buy new tires.
Are you going to get a new wheel and tire set, or are you just going to get just the tires?
So I'm just gonna get the tires because the wheels are essentially new to me, but they're made from stronger steel. So and they're AEV style, so they're not that bad looking. I kind of like them, so I'm gonna keep them.
Well, no, my recommendation would be having 2 sets of wheels and tires, just for one for road and one for off-roading, because that one is also your daily driver, is it not?
It is, but I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
I don't have $2,000 laying around.
That's fair. That's what loans are for. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Ha 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 ha. Yeah, no, I don't take on my debt. I don't take on debt, my friend,
Okay.
unless it's buying a car, apparently.
Yeah, I was about to say, okay, mister.
But I mean, that's why I went to a bunch of tire vendors and took a look at them because there was BFG there. Goodyear was not there, which I'm not surprised. Falcon was there, and then a couple of other brands were there as well. Now, BFG is a very common tire for off-roaders. So that's why I was going to the tire vendors at the Overland Expo just to see different options. And like I said, Maxxis,
Yep.
I'm considering them now. And it's a little bit of competition for Falcon because I had Falcon on my old truck and they were good. But considering that one of the guys that I went with said that Maxxis was a good tire brand, I might go with them too. And the guy at the stand said that their tires are pretty quiet, so we'll see what happens there. Then with the other vendors, there were armor companies, bumper companies. AEV was there. I had a good chat with them too. They were pretty cool. And the vehicle, I saw some
Sure.
vehicles there that were pretty good too. I saw a very built up Jeep. It was an old, it was an older Jeep. I'm not good with the models because there's XJs, YJs, different kinds. I don't know what it was, but it was an older Jeep. They cut it in half, put a long bed on the end of it, welded it together, and lifted it like that thing had to be lifted 10 inches. Maybe no, way more than that. You could pretty much squat down and walk under it is how tall it was. It was insane.
Easily.
And then they had the new Grenadiers there. They had the new Tacomas there. They had some GMC Canyons in Colorado's there. AV was showing off their new Colorado Bison. Then you had a bunch of Land Cruisers there as well, and that was nice.
Did you see any Mavericks by chance?
Unfortunately, I did not see any Mavericks.
I gotta go. I gotta go. I'll be the first one there then.
Vendor wise, unless you're a vendor, you won't see anything there. There's just not a big market for them yet. That's the biggest issue. There's just not a big aftermarket stuff for them.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
still way too new.
So they may catch on eventually, but for now, there's not really much for them. And the big ones are the Land Cruisers. Really, Toyota is the big ones, and then Grenadier.
Mm-hmm.
Grenadier was another big one there to this time, and I was surprised. Cause you've heard of the Grenadier, right?
No, actually, you're gonna have to cover that. I've just been letting you talk. I'm still trying to research on the aux beams, trying to figure out if I can actually get some hood mounts, because it seems like if I don't get hood mounts, I just have to screw it in somewhere, but I don't have a spot to
Are you
screw it
looking up
in.
specifically aux beam
So
mounts? Don't do that. You don't
yes,
have to.
that
Yeah,
makes more sense.
that'll make it a little easier for you.
So what then? What should I be
Just look
searching
up
for then? Just
Maverick corner light mounts or floodlight mounts.
Coolio corner floodlight. I'll do
I
that
bought
one.
mine off Amazon, but that's just me. So the Grenadier, that's the newest vehicle on the market, newest vehicle company on the market. They come out of Britain. The story behind them is actually pretty interesting. So there was this English, I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he's a very rich guy. He loved the Land Rover Defender. Loved them. Loved the body design. At one point, he was trying to buy the rights to that body design from Land Rover. And they said, nope, get out of here. You can't have it. So he was like, well, I'll just build it myself. So he had hired a team of car designers. They built something very similar to the Land Rover Defender. And he had his own. They called it the Grenadier. And the company name that they made is called Ineos. Pretty cool design. It is specifically built for off-roading. It's an overlander through and through. It's all-wheel drive, has a 4 low, skid plates, mounts, even has mounts on the doors.
In this one, I see
Yep,
a
it has a
snorkel.
snorkel too. It has a BMW engine and transmission, which was a really weird thing. If you look at the interior, it has a BMW shifter, which is really weird, and it kind of doesn't match the vibe of the entire vehicle, but it's there because there's a BMW transmission. But
Are they making them left and
yeah,
right drive?
yes,
Because
because
I
you have
didn't
different
see any
markets. So you
pictures for
have
both.
you have the British market, you have the Australian market, and pretty much the rest of the world. So they have to make right wheel drive and left wheel drive.
Okay, yeah. I thought this company was going to only be in UK, by the way you're making it seem. But you were also just explaining how they were showing it off at the
Yeah, I mean they're
Overland
driving
Expo.
around on the road now, so people are buying them. They're expensive, but people are buying them. They're kind of like Teslas in a way where all the information of your driving is in the center screen, and there's no gauge cluster, which is very interesting.
That's I've been looking at. Yeah, I've been looking at it, trying to be like, what seems off about this? And yeah, I see it now. You can see like the miles per hour. You can also see the tilts of the car, the angles and dangles, boys.
Yep, not, it's got barn doors in the back, but they're not even. Has one big door and one small door. The roof opens up as well. They have little panels that you can take off and you can look through the roof. It's just a very interesting car. It's just like dedicated to off roading
Heck, the Ranger! I got to get me one of these. Why didn't you tell me about
because they're
this?
$80,000 for the base model.
Oh yeah,
So I don't.
and your
Yeah,
point.
so they're a little bit out of our price range, and it's funny because Land Rover tried to sue Ineos before the design, and they lost in court.
What made it so different?
Um, Honestly, I don't know because they look very, very similar. I wonder if it's just because they haven't used the design in so long, but I honestly have no clue. I'd have to do more research on that. Maybe that might be a future episode topic,
Maybe not a topic, maybe a touching point.
a larger touching point. We'll say that so we can go into more detail prepared. But that was another big thing at Overland Expo this year. They're actually pretty cool. Actually, they also came out with the new model of the Grenadier. They call it the what's it called? I think it's called the Trailmaster. It's a truck. It's a truck version.
The Master of the
Yeah.
Trail. Oh, I saw a little clip about it, but I didn't like the look of that, and I was like, ugh. So it turns out the answer is simple. Supposedly, Land Rover never trademarked the Defender's shape.
Really?
Yeah, that's what the very first pop up came up. Not the AI, not the
Mm-hmm,
AI,
mm-hmm.
the actual first little
Dang, that's kind
blurb.
of crazy.
It's a .com, so I don't know how
I mean,
true
that
it
would make
is,
sense.
but
That'd be the only way they would win in court.
yeah, yep. All right, back to my researching on trying to find
But
hood
yeah,
mounts.
that was pretty much Overland Expo. They had a bunch of vendors. I didn't get to go to all of them because I was only there for like 3 hours. But it was a good time. I really enjoyed it.
That's good. That's very
All
good.
right, now off
Mm.
to
Are there?
huh?
Sorry, no.
No, I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna switch topics. What were you about to say?
Oh, I was about to switch topics too. Not really any good segues, but I was just going to ask if you want to go ahead and touch on the Colorado trip that we did.
You went to touch on the Colorado trip. All right,
Yeah, that was yeah, that one was a couple weeks ago now. I think actually it
about a
was
month ago now.
the big. Was it in July or
I
was
mean, it
it the
was my
beginning of
birthday.
August? Yeah, yeah, it was during your birthday. So yeah, July.
Dang, time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, we should definitely talk about this one first since it's the older one of what we've got
So
here.
we kind of touched on this earlier, audience. So my buddies came to me in Colorado. They visited me for my birthday, and we did a 3 day or 4 day trip through Colorado. So we started on the western side of Colorado and moved our way back towards Denver. So we stopped at three places. We stopped
What, it was 500 miles in total?
something like that. Yeah, it was a really long trip,
It was indeed.
and so we went through
It,
three different kind of terrain, I guess you could say. One was more of a dry, very rocky. The rock formations on that first day, that was really cool.
Really trippy and
Like,
really cool. Especially camping out over where we did. We'll get to it where we camped out the first night, but man, beautiful. We camped. Oh, perfect.
so the first day we drove, I think, about 3 hours to this first trail. It was on the western side of Colorado. I think it was called Grand Valley. Super dry, really dusty, super hot, just kind of like that desert rock kind of area. And
Yeah, when you think desert, you definitely think this kind of terrain.
yes, unless you're thinking of like, so we'll say we're talking about American desert, not the Sahara sandy dunes type of desert, by the way. So we were going through that trail,
Can confirm.
and we probably were going on that trail for what, 4 hours we drove until we hit our spot.
Something like that. It was a long day that day.
Yes, the entire trail was like 43 miles. We didn't do the entire trail, but that was pretty crazy. We drove about 5 hours, stopped along the way, look at different rock formations. Now these rock formations were formed by just erosion, water erosion. It's all just mud, essentially. So the mud was coming. Yeah, the rock
Was
formations were just mud. That's how they formed.
was keywords was
What?
was keywords was mud.
Still kind of is. Whenever it rains, it turns to mud and it erodes more.
It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. We'll cover more about it. Let's go ahead and talk about trail number
Trail number
two.
2. All right, so we left the first area, and I think it was about 2 hours to the second area, right next to Vail, Colorado. Drove high up in the mountains. It was kind of rainy.
Very trippy. Yeah, it was rainy when we got there, but it was trippy trying to drive through Vale. It isn't that based off of like Norwegian. Um, what's the term I'm looking for? Norwegian towns and whatnot.
I don't know if it's Norwegian towns. I would say more of like Alpine towns, like Switzerland type of thing.
Yeah, there we go. That's what it.
Yeah.
Switzerland.
Um, I I mean, I think so. That it's kind of like the Colorado skiing destination. That's what Vail is. And there were a ton of people on this trail. We didn't know if we'd find a campsite, but luckily we went off this rocky path that was at like the beginning of it was a deep looking puddle, and then it was just like rocky all the way down. I didn't think anybody would go down that just because most people had like Subarus and regular crossover cars and stuff like that. Some people had Jeeps, but I didn't think anybody would go down this trail. It kind of looked not as maintained as the rest of the road. So we go down this trail. It takes us maybe 30 minutes to get down. Very bumpy. Everybody was not having the best time going down that trail. Bounce around.
I was loving it. I don't know what you guys were
I'm
talking
sure
about.
Henry loved it too.
Oh yeah, Henry's my puppy. He actually stuck his head out the window a couple of times.
Well,
And on the way back, that's when he got real
Trevor was
antsy.
not having a good time. He was like, he was complaining about his head, and it was like, please make this stop.
I didn't hear about that part. I was wondering how he was
he
doing.
Sometimes I can't tell if he's having a good time or not. It's because I think he's just trying to. I feel like he's just trying to deal with it, and he's just not telling us that he's not having a good time. But secretly, he is having a good time. I think he had a good time overall. I think he liked having time with us, but I don't think off roading was
Hmm.
necessarily his thing. Eh,
It's definitely not his thing. Camping maybe, but the whole off-roading portion of it was definitely not his thing. It
yeah,
seems like.
being bounced around. I mean, I understand it because whenever I get bounced around too much, I start getting a headache, and it's not fun. When we got
There's a simple solution for that, and it's called drinking water.
It's not water doesn't always fix it. Okay,
How many cups of water do you drink
I
a day?
have my entire water bottle every single
Every
day,
single day?
and then I drink soda.
There you
Hey,
go.
hey. At least I drink a bottle of water. Some people don't drink water at all.
Haze for horses.
Yes. Anyways, we got down to the bottom and we found this campsite very, very overgrown. And I was very enthusiastic on staying there and be like, hey, this would be a great spot. We're kind of away from everybody. Nobody's going to bother us. And we have this campsite. It wasn't super flat either. That was one of the main issues. There were spots where it was pretty soft, and I was like, y'all can set your tents here. Of course, I had my rooftop tent, so as long as my truck was level, I was kind of okay. Took some convincing to get y'all to stay there, but y'all did agree eventually.
I wanted to do more exploring. That was my big thing. But going up and down that trail, I do understand why we stayed, and I'm glad we stayed. I think that was. I want to say it was the best, but I know it's
It
not.
was the best view that had a walk, though.
Yeah, best view that had a walk. The view was magnificent. Well, what park was that? It's basically completely untouched by man, right? That's what you were saying.
Um, that part. Uh, so it's a wildlife preserve is what it was. The part that we were
Mm.
the place the mountain we were looking at was a wildlife preserve. So that place you can't put roads in there. You can't go hunting. I'm sure there might be a few hiking trails in there, but I don't. You can't do anything like camp in there or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um,
It was also really cool because the way to get there was basically overgrown. It looked like it used to be a trail, but you can't get there by car anymore. So it was a 15-minute walk. So I would say like maybe between half a mile and a mile, somewhere in that range. And most of it was uphill.
yeah,
No, most of it was flat. It was towards the end when it
yeah,
went
going towards the
uphill.
view, getting into that field.
Mm-hmm.
That was when it started going up.
Yep.
But I think they closed that portion, I'm guessing, probably in the 80s. Because back in the 50s, families would go camping all the time. And it could have been a hunting area, it
Mm-hmm.
could have been whatever, and people just drove all the way down there. And there was this trail, it was marked on my app that went all the way back there. It looked like cars at one point was there. We found an oil can back there. So people were obviously driving back there at one time. But
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
it
definitely
would
at
have
one
been
point.
really cool if we could drive our trucks all the way back there and camp on that freaking ridge. That would have been so cool.
I agree. That would have been. I think that would have been the best one. There wasn't a lot of flat area, and there wasn't a lot enough clearing to worth trying to get over there.
Also, very
And
highly
even if we
illegal.
did try, yeah,
Oh
probably.
no, if it
If
was.
even if we did it, even if we did get over there, camping if you didn't have a rooftop tent would have been
I mean, on that
difficult.
on that ridge though is pretty flat.
Yeah, but it was flat, but there was a lot of like overgrown leaves and
Wildflowers. Oh, the
just
wildflowers.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
I thought that was the coolest part of that trail was there were just so many wildflowers out there. It looked so pretty.
it was. I everything about that like was like, hey, should we keep going? Should we not keep going? And then we're like, we'll just get up here. There looks like to be something, so we got up there, and it's like, oh my lordy loo.
And we talked about making an Instagram, so we may post a photo of that view. Ooh, that's what we should use the Instagram for.
Posting photos
Yeah,
of
so
trails.
like stuff we
I
talk
do
about
like
on
that
the
idea.
podcast, like, oh, we want to show you this, we can post it on Instagram. So keep an eye out for an Instagram account with our name, and you'll see some pretty good photos of that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, coming here shortly. We'll probably make it after this podcast.
Indeed. So that was a good spot. Now, moving on to the third spot. Third spot, we did it on Lost Park Road, which is about an hour ish, I think an hour, 20 minutes away from Denver. I've been to this trail probably 10 times. I know it pretty well. Um, so there's a main dirt road. It goes all the way back towards the mountain. And then there's these side roads that run along a ridge on like, I guess you could say it's a mountain ish. It's more like, I would say it's more like a,
Very
huh?
plainy. Very
Yes.
plain like.
So
Plainy.
you have the plains, and then you have like it's like a bowl surrounded by mountains. We were on the ridge of one of those mountains on that side trail where we camped. Had a great view.
Hmm.
If it wasn't so foggy the entire time, the view was obstructed by fog.
I wouldn't say the entire. I wouldn't say the entire time. If you take a look at our YouTube channel, that's what our current background banner image and our picture are. One of the pictures is our trucks during the day. The other one is the trucks right by sunset.
I mean, yes, but if it was completely clear, it would have been a better view. I'm just saying.
Oh, I 100% agree. However, you can still see the
You
gist.
can see the silhouette of the mountains.
Hmm.
But yes, I've been on this trail plenty of times. Actually, I had went camping close to that spot probably 2 months beforehand. Um, and it was pretty good. There were a lot of people there that first time I went, but this time there was barely anybody there. There was like,
Except for except for the people that were right around the corner from us, the people that seemed like they just left
yeah,
their stuff
they
there.
never, they were never there. They just left their stuff, which I thought was the weirdest crap. It was a camper, and then there was a tent, and we never saw anybody over there.
There was also the tent, but also a hammock. The camper was one of the ones that go into like the bed of the truck,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
stand-up campers that like anybody could have just come up and taken that and been like, "Oh yeah." I'm surprised they were just well off, like keeping everything all set up there. They probably come back on like the
Yeah,
weekends or
but
something.
you're not supposed to do that. That's kind of illegal.
Yeah, it's weird. Oh well, that's what I got to say about
But
it.
we made. Oh, I have to mention the grilled cheese. Grilled cheese.
Oh, the grill. You're gonna mention the grilled cheese, but you're not gonna mention the
Oh
delicious
no,
eggs.
we had some good food on that trip. Really good food.
Oh yeah, the Cartery clogging eggs.
Remind me what exactly you put in that entire thing.
I cooked sausage, then I cooked bacon, and then I cooked the eggs, and that's all I did.
Really? That was all?
I cooked it in that
That's
order.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
It was a lot of grease too. There was just so much grease.
yeah. That's what it. Yeah, it was the grease from the bacon, and I just threw the eggs in. Oh,
You
oh
put butter in it too, right? You
no,
didn't put any butter in it?
no.
Oh shoot. Dang.
There was already enough fat.
Yeah. No, that stuff was so good though.
Mm-hmm.
Then we also had some very good grilled cheese that I made. Really good. And I put probably it was probably a fourth a stick of butter for each sandwich.
Yeah, you put a lot of butter on
But
those.
it tasted so good.
Oh, I agree.
Oh man, I can't.
You know what's funny? I think when I got back, very next weekend, I had gone out and my buddy who has the Renegade, he made grilled cheese as well.
But did he put as much butter?
He put more.
He put more. How do you put more?
No, I kid. I kid. I don't, wasn't paying attention. I was shooting his
Oh,
BB gun.
fair. But man, that was such a good trip. And we stopped. Where did we stop? We stopped. We didn't stop. We stopped in Copper Mountain to eat
Copper
food.
Mountain. to eat, and then we went to Leadville, and then explored the old mining trails. We weren't there for long because I was getting a headache. You guys were getting a headache. Uh, I was sick the entire trip, but like not like sick enough to like be I'm miserable. It was just like my
Yeah.
nose
Honestly, I think it was
and
the
my head
altitude.
was clogged. I think so. Like as soon as I got back home, I was like, I'm
Yeah,
good.
you're at sea level, man. Then you come up here to my elevation.
I'm above sea level technically.
Okay, above sea level, at sea level. You know what I mean.
I do know what you mean, but
Trying to get all
I'm
technical
pretty
on you.
high up just because of the way things are here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah, I do got to say my mountain is much better than your mountains. Mount Rainier, 14,000 feet. Looking from like I don't know the elevation I'm currently at versus you looking at your mountains where you're already 4,000 feet, and then you're looking at the 14ers.
yeah.
Not as
Hey,
impressive,
hey,
but
hey, hey! You
impressive.
haven't been
Impressive.
to Pikes Peak yet. Pikes
Probably
Peak is one of the
not.
iconic mountain peaks of Colorado. You can drive all the way to the top of that one.
You can drive to near the top of Mount Rainier. You can't do quite the top just because of the
Is it
glaciers
is it a
that
paved
are
road or
there.
is it a trail?
It's a
Oh,
paved road.
darn.
Yeah, it's not as sketchy as Mount Washington. Let me tell you, Mount Washington Road was sketchy. It was paved about halfway up, and then it became a single lane dirt road. And the people in the tour buses
Oh,
on that, they were just whipping it real good.
oh, jeez. That would suck.
Yeah, I was scared of heights. My older sister was scared of heights, and then my stepmother, she's also scared of heights. And my little sister and I, we were freaking out, and she's yelling at us, "Stop freaking out! You're gonna make me freak out, and you don't want me freaking out."
Yeah.
But we made it to the top, and it was all fine.
Hey, as long as you made it to the top alive, that's all that matters, man.
No, I definitely unalived.
I'm talking to a ghost.
Boo!
What were we talking about?
Oh, just the Colorado trip, and the Copper Mountain, Leadville, and exploring just all around.
Um,
But I think we're getting to that point.
but I have one more thing to talk about.
Oh, you have one more thing to talk about. Go for it. What do you
The
got?
poll of the Maverick versus the Ranger.
Ooh, I almost
Bum,
forgot
bum,
about that.
bum. Now, the current poll is 50-50 for to get rid of the Maverick and get a Ranger or to keep the Maverick. Now, I voted to get rid of the Maverick and get a Ranger.
I voted, obviously, to keep the Maverick because I love the little tiny
Someone's on
truck.
your side, but I have a feeling I know who that person is.
Mm.
I think you know who it is too.
I don't think Olivia's voted yet.
I don't know. I think that might be her.
I don't know.
Either way,
I had asked her about it, and she said she hadn't listened to it yet. So
interesting.
we'll see.
But I have some interesting news to tell you.
Yeah, go
So,
for it.
they're starting to limit what trails all-wheel drive cars can go down. Like, it's
Oh,
becoming a law
really?
now. Because,
Why?
so, from my understanding is, all-wheel drives do not have a proper low range. Low range is what gives you the torque whenever going over bumps and rocks. Makes your grip a little better and stuff like that. Now, all-wheel drive cars, such as your Maverick or what else is out there? They have like the off-roady versions of each car. Like you have the Kia, the outdoorsy version of that with a little bit of a lift and a little bit of more aggressive tires. People are taking their cars on these trails and they're getting stuck. They can't get out because they don't have the power. Now, that makes it dangerous for you because you're stuck out there. You don't have anybody to call. You have
Hmm.
no signal, and it's it can be dangerous for someone to recover you. So you say you call a recovery company, bring out their truck, and they have to come and get you. It's just putting them at risk. It puts you at risk because you don't have the power. You don't have a proper four-wheel drive. Um, Especially because some of these cars are going down high clearance four-wheel drive trails, and they're getting stuck. They can fall off. They're just these cars aren't built for them, but because they're the off-roady, quote unquote off-roady version of that trim of car they have, people are just getting like, oh, I can go down this trail now. No, you can't. So a proper four-wheel drive system with a proper low range is what you need for some of these trails. And a
And the way they define it, it seems like, is a high clearance four wheel drive is defined as a SUV or truck type vehicle with at least 1.5 inches of tire rims or more with a low gear
mm-hmm.
transfer case, designed for heavier type use than a standard vehicle passage. Correction, a standard passenger
Yep.
vehicle.
And so the story was a guy went down this trail and a ranger found him. The ranger gave him a ticket saying you can't be doing this, and he had to appear in court because of it. So
Mm-hmm.
now,
Yeah, that's
now they're considering a law
yeah.
to prevent all-wheel drive vehicles from doing certain trails because of that.
Not just like like certain trails. It's ones that are designed
High
for
clearance.
high clearance
Yep.
4x4.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. So that
like
limits.
yeah. So ones that you would look at and be like, oh, this Maverick that I have, I couldn't do that anyway. These guys are going out and saying, oh, I'm gonna go
Not
attempt this
necessarily.
anyway.
Now your Maverick could possibly do these trails, but if they make it law, you're just not allowed to go on it at all. So now you're limited to
Mm.
certain places you can go in your Maverick. So that's why I'm saying if you get a Ranger, you can go anywhere. You're not limited by the law. You're not limited by your vehicle's limitations. Get a Ranger. Thank you. Everybody who supports my point, please go to the first episode podcast. Please vote in the poll. Vote for get rid of the Maverick and get a Ranger. Thank you.
Okay, well, you didn't let me speak here on
Oh, I didn't. That
ending.
wasn't ending. I
Uh,
was just making my point.
oh, I understand. I understand. You're making your point. My point is, I use this car on the daily, and it's a great daily driver. There's no road noise. There's like little to no engine noise. I love the tiny truck. It has enough storage for the abilities. Correction here. Hold on. It has enough storage for the needs that I have and the wants that I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need anything new. Uh, Another
Wasn't
big
your
point.
main reason was the miles per gallon was really good?
And there's another one. Yeah, the miles per gallon, and was a lot better than uh, what you
Okay.
get.
What
Obviously,
is the engine size of your Maverick right now?
I believe it's a 2.6 liter. I believe I can't quite remember it. I'm not good at remembering this kind of
Well,
stuff.
may I tell you that the 2019 Ford Ranger has a 2.3 liter four-cylinder turbocharged engine. Puts out, on average, miles per gallon, 26 miles per gallon on the highway. That's just... Alright, so the four-wheel drive Ranger, four-cylinder, 2.3 liter automatic transmission, combined has a 22 mpg. In the city, it's 20 miles per gallon. On the highway, it's 24 miles per gallon. The two-wheel drive version combined is 23 miles per gallon. City's 21, highway is 26. Now, that's pretty good from a truck, not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
So, unless it's a huge difference between the Maverick and the Ranger, I don't know, man. Your argument is kind of diminishing. Your argument is diminishing.
I think mine gets gosh, I think it's. I know I'm getting about 30 on the highway. That's like my normal, but I think it's rated for about 28 miles a gallon.
So your Ford Maverick, all-wheel drive, four-cylinder, 2-liter automatic transmission, 2022, combined 25 miles per gallon. So city is 22, highway is 29. That is only 4 miles per gallon more than the Ranger. Plus, you can tune the Ranger a little differently if you want to get it.
I could also tune this one
Yes,
to increase my horsepower.
yes, but you can also do the same thing to the Ranger. If you put more horsepower into your engine, uses more fuel. Same thing. So my point is, it doesn't give you that much more than what you're getting now. Plus, with the Ranger, you have bigger cab, more storage, bigger bed size, more towing capacity, more load capacity, and you have a proper four-wheel drive system with different drive modes. So, all in all, I'm saying the Ranger is going to be a better match for you. You probably won't get it anytime soon, which I understand. You like your Maverick, but for off-roading ability and for long-distance driving, the Ford Ranger will be your best bet for all-around use. Go vote Ford Ranger.
Nope.
Do it, audience. I beg of you.
He's begging. I'm
Well,
not.
I'm not begging. I'm just encouraging them.
You just said you beg. No, you just said I beg you. I can quote
I
you on that.
encourage you to go vote for the Ford Ranger.
Well, on that note, I think this is wrapping up the end of this episode.
All right. Thank you for listening to this episode of Adventures Beyond the Horizon. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Today we talked about Overland Expo, our trip to the Colorado mountains, and our amazing journey through trying to determine if John should get a Ranger or keep his Maverick. I still vote Ranger. But if you enjoyed it, please follow, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Just be safe out there, adventurers.
We would love to hear from you about your overlanding stories or any topics that you'd like for us to cover in future episodes. Connect with us on social medias. We currently don't have Instagram. However, I could imagine if you have an Instagram, we'll get there. But when we get our own, it would be Adventures Beyond the Horizon 16. And you could just do the same thing, Adventures Beyond the Horizon 16 at gmail.com for our email. Instagram for Anthony over here. You want to go ahead and plug your Instagram
It's
real
Forward
quick?
to Adventure.
Simple as that. Stay tuned for our next episode. We'll dive more into our Colorado trip, Pony Express, and any new trails that we are looking into. It's going to be an adventure you won't want to miss. Until next time, keep exploring and pushing beyond the horizon. Safe travels and happy adventuring.
See you next time.
Peace.